How long do we have?
I say we'll go as long as necessary, but I would say by 2 is at the latest, and
Okay,
we'll
so
be
you're
done.
talking 50 minutes?
Yeah, 40,
Perfect.
50, something like that.
We'll get the goat out in that amount of time.
Yeah. Hey, I just got to wait for a few things to populate here, and there we go. Make sure everything's working. All right. Okay, bear with me just a sec.
All good, man. You waited for me with my lack of
Ah,
effort.
oh, that was nothing. I've had people with really serious tech issues, but
Yeah.
very rarely, thankfully.
Yeah, when I use my my guys here for change, it changes it up on every
I
system,
I
and
totally understand. It happens to me too,
yeah,
all the time. I'm constantly like going, what what speaker, what microphone, which all day long. That's all the different systems do it differently. All right, we are ready. Let's do it. Okay, bear with me just a second. Okay, today my guest on the show is Austin Cheviron from Cheviron Coaching. Let me tell you more about Austin. Now, as a coach, trainer, and speaker, Austin exudes a magnetic charisma that draws individuals towards their fullest potential. Now, beyond these roles, he wears the hats of a seasoned real estate team leader, an investor, and entrepreneur, possessing the rare ability to master both structure and execution, a quality that has earned him the reputation of a simple yet powerful principle: the results speak for themselves. I would like everybody to check out Austin's coaching opportunities at chevroncoaching.com. I'm going to spell that for you. It's CHEVIRON coaching.com. We will have a link to that in the show notes. There's all sorts of coaching for real estate agents. Austin, welcome to the show.
thank you, DJ. Thank you. This is gonna be fun.
Very excited to have you. We used to have coaches on our show come on regularly, and we moved a little bit away from that, and we're interested in getting back to it. Our audience loves to hear from coaches. We know every professional athlete has a coach, and every agent should also have a coach as well. So I'd like to learn a little bit more about you, though, your story and sort of how you got to coaching. So tell us
Thank
your
you.
real estate journey.
So the good news about me and the coaching side is I've actually done it. And I've always said with the coach, if you can have a coach that's been where you're at and past where you're going, like that's the one you need to have. So I'll give you a couple minute background on why I'm here and what I'm speaking about, and that way I can really pour into you. You'll have some trust for me that I know what I'm talking about. So I am when this airs, I am 40 years old right now. Hopefully this lives on for 20 years, but I am 40 years old right now. I've been married 17 years with my wife for 22. I got 2 kids, 14 and 12. And I start with that because it's important for the audience to know what someone has and they're dealing with as they grow.
Yeah.
Right, like that's if you don't know the back part of it, if you just see the front but you don't know the back, then you don't know what it really is. So um, when I was 6 years old, my father got in real estate, and when I was 7, my parents got a divorce, probably because my father was in real estate. Yeah, I'm going back. I'm going giving everybody the good stuff here. So when I was 6 to the time I was 16, I watched real estate agents perform my whole life. Okay. At 16, I was licensed. During that 6 to 16 time, I'm sorry, I wasn't licensed at 16. I became my father's assistant at that time.
Sure.
My father was the manager of the largest Coldwell Banker office in the nation. So not only have I been around real estate agents, I've been around the top of the top. And I say that because I've watched their lives. I've studied real estate agents my whole life. At 16, I became my dad's assistant. At 20, I got licensed. I didn't do too well. My mother died when I was 16, put me in a negative spiral. And only thing I figured I could do when I was 20 is sell real estate because it's all I've ever known. I don't really have to have a degree. I can just sell, right? Well, 8 years into this is what's really interesting, DJ. And I wish I could go back. I wish I journaled back then so I could figure this out. But from 20 to 28, okay, I was living life fine. But on 28, when I had my second child, I qualified for welfare. And so, like, what would most careers, you work your way up, right?
Right.
You start and then you go up the corporate ladder, or whatever you want to say. You get better. For some reason, I feel like I went down in 8 years. Right? And I say that to our audience here, to know that real estate doesn't promise you anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, it took me 8 years to get on welfare. And I say that with the red. It took me 8 years to get on welfare. Like, it needs to be like an aha moment for people.
100%. I just want to interject with a point, is that success is never linear, right? It's always these big wild swings up and down. Now, over time, those plot points hopefully are going up and to the right as we want. But yes, I know I've had hundreds and hundreds of people on the show. Almost none of them do not have some sort of tragedy story as part of their real estate history.
Yeah, and it's funny because the people that don't have the tragedy, I work with them like, well, Austin, I've never gone through a death. I've never been on welfare. And at 28, here's what I did different than most people is I got a vision. I got crystal clear when my son was born, my second kid, when he graduates college, I want to be free. And so I needed to ensure that I was free of time, free of money, and free of location. And so I had a vision. When I work with any client today, without the vision, they say the people perish.
Mhm.
And the people are you. So if you don't have a vision, things will happen that won't be so positive for you. And so I was able to get a vision. Now, I happened to be on rock bottom at that time too. Okay, now my rock bottom might be different from yours or somebody else's. Our rock bottoms are all different. For me, that was mine, going into the Super Shots clinic, getting free shots, and then realizing they thought I was a doctor when I went in there because I was wearing a suit. But I was really just, my dad taught me, you fake it till you make it. So I'm broke, wearing suits, getting free shots. And here's what's really interesting. And this should inspire hope in anybody who's listening to this. Within 4 years from collecting welfare, I became one of the top agents in the state of Indiana.
It's incredible.
Okay. So look at this contrast of difference here. And this is for anybody who is listening. I am no different than you. It took me 8 years from the time I got my license to get on welfare, which is a negative spiral, right? There was no highs in there either. It was just down. Okay. And then in 4 short years after I got my vision, I was able to go from the bottom to the top in 4 years. I was able to climb that whole mountain of what people call success in 4 short years.
What do you think changed once you solidified your vision? What changed for you?
Well, it's funny. I was just talking to my therapist before this call. A true story. And what I was talking with him about, I wasn't expecting to say this. What I was talking with him about is defending my vision. Okay. And when I have a road in which this is the road in which I need to go down to get me to where I need to go, what do I allow to take me off track?
Yeah.
Okay. So your question is like, how did you go from here to here? Well, I had a vision and I defended it. And that vision allowed me, this is key, I think, for people. That vision allowed me not to have to make decisions when the decisions needed to be made. Because the decision was already made before. This is where I'm going and this is what I'm willing to sacrifice. The decision was already made. I already knew what I needed to do, who I needed to become. And so all these things that were to take me off track, opportunities, whatever people want to call them, the decision was already made where I'm going. And so I could say no instantly, and then I could say yes to what I needed to do. There wasn't the fatigue of what should I do and what should I do? It was already made.
That's a really important point. You're really talking about being super intentional about your decisions. And what came to mind as you were talking was I meal prep for basically the same reason, because if left to my own devices, I am going to make the unhealthy choice. In other words, if it becomes lunchtime and it's like, what do I want to eat for lunch? I am always going to choose the option that is not healthy for me. But if if I plan and I bring my meal with me to work, and again, this is such a simple example, but it's
Yeah,
important.
it's
I
vital.
no longer have to make that decision. Like you said, that decision has already been made, and it's a healthy decision. It's in alignment with my values, like you were saying, your
Mm,
vision,
yes.
and it's one less thing I have to deal with, and it serves me
Okay, DJ. So why did you decide to meal prep?
because I was tired of making the wrong decision
Why
every
is
day
that?
at noon.
Why does that matter?
Because I want the energy to be able to build my business. And if I don't eat correctly, I will not have that energy.
And if you don't have the energy to build your business, what happens?
My performance will suffer, and potentially my boss will notice, and maybe I'll have to find another job.
You guys see how he started with the vision and then his decisions were made. They're already made. He just has to put action to them.
Yep.
And so one of the decisions I made back then, I was raised family first. So how I run everything, it's how I run my businesses, how I was raised. So when I made this decision, here's what I knew, DJ. I knew I was going to go cause a mess in a positive way in my business. Here's what I mean by a mess. I was going to go from selling 5 houses to 10 to 20 to 40 to 60. My top year, I was just under 90.
It's
Okay. I
amazing.
ran my whole business by referral, never bought an internet lead in my life. Still haven't to today. Nothing against it. It's not who I am and not how I built my business. So I knew I was going to cause a mess as I built. You know how I know that? Because I watched the top people in the world do it. I already know how it goes. As you go up, you destroy everything else. You destroy your spiritual life. You destroy your personal life. You destroy your health. You destroy your family. You even could possibly destroy your financials.
100%. I
Yeah.
know, well,
Yeah.
sadly, I know top producers who are broke.
Yeah. Most of them are.
Yeah.
Just to let everybody know, most of them are. You know how I know? Because I coach them.
They have problems too.
So when I say the decision's already made, here was one of them. And this might be the one thing that somebody listening can take and can make their own. I knew my family was more important than business, but I needed to prioritize my business to get this thing off the ground, to get my family to where it needed to get to financially. And so I made this commitment to my wife, watching real estate agents perform my whole life. Here's what I can tell you is their spouse never knows when to expect them. You're sitting at the dinner table. Next thing you know, your phone rings and then boom, boom. I got to go, honey. I got a showing. To who? Well, I don't know who they are. So you're going to leave dinner with your family to go show a house to someone you don't know. That's probably going to stand you up. Okay. So here's the commitment I made. If everybody can hone in on this, this is the gold. I'll be home at 5 o'clock every night for dinner, no matter what. Okay. No appointments Friday after 5 and no appointments on Sundays. That was the commitment that I made to my family when I was on welfare. Now, let me say this. Everybody around me said you can't do it. My boss, my managers, my peers, everybody said you can't do that. That's not how this industry works. And I said, well, I got in this industry to do whatever I wanted.
Right.
So who's to say I can't do this? And because my vision was clear, I made it work.
Yeah.
So
It, it
yeah.
it is remarkable once we make a decision and we really cut off all other options, and we burn the lifeboat, right, especially specifically, and we say we got to make this happen, and here's the arrangement I'm deciding upon. Just like for me, years ago, I'm like, I'm just going to have to start making my meals every day. If I want to achieve the goals that I want in life, it literally goes all the way down to what am I eating for lunch. It's part of the deal. So I made that decision. And to your point, is it a hassle to cook meals every week? Of course it is. Yes, it's
Sure.
not the most, I mean, I like cooking, but it's not the most fun thing for me to do. However, it serves me. It always is serving me. So you're right. Yes. Are there sacrifices along the way? Of course there are.
Of course. There
But
has to be.
there has to be. But the sacrifices are there. I mean, everything in life that's worthwhile is hard, So hard work is the good news. Like we know how to do hard work, but I love the fact that you knew your values, and for you, family was number one. And hey, I could have all the money in the world, but if my family's not there, then maybe I don't have anyone to share that with. So family really goes number one, but I also have to support my family. So you made an arrangement, and you stuck to it. I love that. That's intentional. I love that.
Very. So we went on it. We went on the journey. After about 4 years, my 2016 Was my top year selling real estate. I closed 88 transactions. Now, here's what's different about it is because I had my vision right, my 88 transactions on average a week took me 38 and a half hours a week is what I worked. And I know that because I track my hours every day. Why did I track my hours? Because I knew I didn't want my business to offset my family and my personal life. I wasn't willing to give up this for this. And I still did it because I was focused. I found a way to make it work. Parkinson's law says what time you give something to, it will take to.
Yeah, I'm going to pause for a second. This is a really cool law that is anecdotally true for everybody. So what Austin just said is it's funny. I only have heard of this in the last maybe 5 years. Somebody told me and I went, oh gosh, it's a very humbling thing to learn because you can absolutely apply it to so many parts of anyone's own life. But basically Austin's saying, however much time you allocate to something is exactly how much time it is going to take to complete that product, because that's how our brains work. We're going to fill in that time. So if we say it's going to take 10 hours, it'll take exactly 10 hours. If we say it's going to take 4 hours, we could probably knock it out in 4 hours. Again, being reasonable, of course.
Yep.
But the idea is that we will fill up that time with anything else in order to achieve that goal or not achieve the goal.
So here's two great examples, and this probably actually rings true for a lot of real estate agents. The first one is when you had a paper due in high school or college, if you went to college, when did you start that paper?
Well, embarrassingly, I will say a couple days before, if not the night before.
It's not embarrassing. That's called Parkinson's law. Now, the people that started it 30 days prior, they're not real estate agents. They have normal jobs. Okay. That's why I can say this works for us. But most of us started it 1, 2, 3 days before because you had the time. It took that much time.
Yep.
Now, here's the other great example. And when I work on productivity with people, this is what I tell them. I would probably hire you only a couple days out of the year.
Why is that?
DJ, how many vacations do you take a year?
3.
So I'd hire you 3 days a year.
Okay. Why is that?
Because the 3 days before you leave on vacation, you're most on point. You get the most done. Yep. I'm dead serious.
It is unbelievable what I can accomplish. In fact, I'm heading out today for my 30th high school reunion, which stupidly I am the one that plans for our high school. But I will tell you that is so absolutely dead on accurate. So I'm doing that today. I'm like, it's amazing how productive I can be when I want to.
And focused, because you got to say, hey, I can't do all these things today. I have to get the most important things done first and then work my way down. So what happens if I circle this all the way back to when I said I closed 88 homes, I did it working by referral. Congratulations. A lot of other people have done that too, right? It does separate the level, but there's still a lot of people that play at that level. Here's where they don't play. I did it in 38 and a half hours.
Yeah, that's the part that I wanted to underscore and really highlight, because working under 40 hours to close, essentially 90 transactions in a year is almost superhero level. And I'm super excited to hear about how you did that.
So I'm telling you, some of the gold, Parkinson's law, understanding that and the time it takes. So what I did is I just compressed my time because I knew I had to be home every night at dinner at 5 o'clock. So I had to get my stuff done. Well, I also had these appointments. I had all these other things. So I had to figure out, like, what do I need to do and what can I not do anymore? If I'm going to get to my vision, this stuff just can't happen. I can't sit around and play on social media. I can't do this. I have to stay focused.
Right.
And because I had a vision and because I put it in a box and I understood the laws in which they tried to teach me in high school that I did not pay attention to. I missed 78 days of school my senior year. I was one of the worst students they had. I actually ran into one of my coaches. I said, how did they graduate me? And he said, we just didn't think you should be here anymore.
Get out.
Today, my kids miss 6 days of school because I have them in Disney and they're calling Child Protective Services. Like, what? So now this world's changed so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I love what you're saying. And I really, some of the principles of what we're discussing are simple, like create a plan, stick to it. However, they're not easy to stay on track, right? This is where coaching comes in, because everybody gets knocked off course. That's just part of the deal. Life is going to knock you off course. Life is going to test you and push you and say, we don't want you to be home at 5 o'clock tonight for dinner. You got something else that we got to do this thing. And then you now have to make this decision. Nope,
It's
that's
already
my
made.
commitment. Yep, it's already made.
I don't have
I
to make a decision.
love that.
So DJ,
And look at the results. Almost 90 transactions, 38 and a half hours a week in a year. I mean, that's an incredible accomplishment.
Taking about 12 weeks off too. I didn't mention that. That's just the cherry. There at a certain point, there doesn't need to be any more cherries on top. But I can tell you,
people are just going to hate your.
Let's stop there.
No, but really, what they should be is inspired. And I want to make a point to say, Austin teaches you how to do this. He is not in a silo. He is not, he's on our show to say there is a better, easier way to do this. It's not, well, I shouldn't say easy. Easy isn't the right word. There is a more focused way to do this. In fact, it's probably not easy. It's not easy, but it is focused and it is worthwhile. And he's going to show you how to do it.
So one of the phrases, I live by filters in my life. One of the filters was, hey, family first, business second. Another one was a quote from Les Brown that says, in life, if you do what is easy, life will be hard. And if you do what is hard, life will become easy. So I always ask myself, what's the hard thing to do? And that's how I make a decision. What is the hard thing to do? Now, what's really interesting, after studying real estate agents my whole life, coaching and training tens and tens of thousands of them, I found something to be true. And here's that. Business is easy. Life is hard.
Yeah.
Okay. When you 3 minutes ago, you're talking about business and it not being easy. The reason business isn't easy is because your life gets in the way. You get sick. You're broke. You got the wrong mindset. You're hanging out with the wrong people. Your life is what's getting in the way of your business. Business is just a simple process. You go do this. This is the results more than likely. Majority of the time, if you do this, I have a whole program that says, this is what you do. It's that simple. If you do this, this is the results you will get. The problem is your kids get sick.
Yeah.
Your wife or husband hates you because you're never around, because of how you talk to them, because of your mindset, whatever. Your mom, your dad, your family, all these things happen. The storms come in and wreck all the personal stuff gets in the way of the business. And at the end of the day, the personal stuff's 10 times more important than the business.
Yeah.
So how I did it is I worried about me first, business second. Which seems so simple, right? Oh, sure, Austin. Well, go do a sample size of 10,000 real estate agents that sell more than 30 homes. Less than 10% of them put themselves first.
Can you give me an example of how you would put yourself first?
Yeah, so you create what's called boundaries. Okay, boundaries. The easiest boundaries that I create are based off of time and access to me. So one boundary is when I start work every day and when I stop work. That's a boundary. We gave an example. My voicemail was always a boundary. So when they called, when I sold real estate, one thing I train is, hey, this is Austin. If it's after 5 or on the weekend, I'll give you a call back the following business day. It just creates boundaries. Now, DJ, if you call me on Saturday, will I call you back? Probably. But what's going to happen is your expectation of me is not there anymore.
Yeah. You've set the container. Hey, you're gonna hear from me on Monday, and if I do hear from you earlier, even a bonus. That's even like, hey, thanks, Austin. Appreciate you going the extra mile.
When you work by referral, what you have to do is exceed people's expectations. So how do I continuously exceed them? Great client of mine up in Detroit. I was just talking with him about this. This guy operates up here, man, at the top of the top. But he wants to give to everyone and always do everything. Well, when he sends me back a text message that says, I'll call you later, which is what Apple sets up, okay? And then he doesn't call me back, guess what? Just because he clicked a button. So what I coach on is, hey, all those preset buttons on your phone, I'd like to change them. And here's what I'd like to change them to. You know, those preset text messages? I guess we're giving some coaching along the way here.
I'm driving. I can call you back later. Yeah, those kind of things.
So we change them on. Here's what our clients change them to. Call me back in a half hour. Call me back in 2 hours. Call me back tomorrow.
Interesting.
Because DJ, you call me because you need something, right?
Right.
Okay. You call me. And what most people do is they say, hey, let me call you back. So they put the obligation on themselves. It's what Apple did setting up. I mean, there's billionaires that make these things and that set them up. These people are a lot smarter than me. Here's what they didn't figure out is don't put the obligation on me, because if I don't exceed that obligation, I am then failing and people will look at my character as less.
That's a good point.
So we just changed them. DJ, you called me. I clicked the button. I'm busy right now. Hey, call me back in 2 hours. It's on you now, not me.
I like that.
Yeah, see these little things. So when we talk about boundaries and time, like once you start getting clear and you can figure out how does this incoming stuff come to me, and then what is my defense mechanism to allow that not to destroy my focus.
I like the example of the scheduling sort of a future appointment is really what you're doing, is saying, hey, I'm going to be available at this time. Can you call me at this time? You're essentially setting an actual appointment where you are going to be available at X time.
Yeah, and I don't even know if I'm available. What the biggest thing is I'm taking the obligation off of me and putting it back to you. I'm starting with that. And then if you call me again and I'm not available, I'll click the same button again. At some point, I might need to call you if I want to keep you as a client, though.
Right.
So it's, you ask the question, like, how do you start to do this? Well, you got to understand how this world works. I just had my team set up on all of my social media that there's an auto response that comes in when you respond to me, because right now there are so many different ways people can get to me. I'll tell the audience this. If you want to get to me, email me. It's Austin@Cheviron, CHEVIRON.net. I always said God gave me an eye, so I have to work for it. Because Chevron gas stations, I'd have been a billionaire.
And by the way, we have a link to Austin's email right in our show notes. Please click there and you can get more information.
So without our audience here trying to have more ways to communicate to them, it's naturally happening I get Facebook messages and Instagram. I can't spend my whole day looking at all these platforms. And so how do we put all this into a funnel? And I just had my team do it today. Put all auto responses on. If you need Austin, please email him. This is what he looks at.
Yeah.
And so that way,
Smart.
all it's doing, DJ, is it's just setting an expectation. So when you get a hold of me, it's not like, oh, this guy's just impossible. He never calls me back.
Yeah. And that is a tip that nobody has ever. We've done 600 episodes plus. No one has given that tip. That is an unbelievable tip, because I will tell you, as a marketer or as somebody who recruits realtors, which really is not all that much different from being a realtor, as I'm trying to close other realtors to join our firm. Yes, they message me in all sorts of different ways, text messages, social media, chats, all sorts of different ways. And if I miss something, which happens all the time, then they're like, oh, this DJ guy's not on top of things.
Yeah. So a guy I once studied, he was a keynote speaker at a conference once. I was able to have a nice dinner with him. He taught me this. He goes, Austin, your brain is made to create things and to keep you alive. We don't need to talk about keeping you alive, but the creation we need to talk about. He goes, here's what's happening. As a human being becomes more successful and more successful and more successful, they have to remember more things. And that's killing your creativity. And so what I'd like for you to do is to create a system that you don't have to remember things, and you can spend more time creating and thinking. This guy's name was David Allen. He wrote a book called Getting Things Done.
Getting Things Done, David Allen.
So me and Mr. David Allen had a really great dinner together, and he taught me why we're not doing as good as we could. It's just because we're using our mechanisms the wrong way. We're not setting up boundaries. With all great intentions, DJ, I can get a hold of you 20 different ways right now. And if you don't respond back to me from this new site that happened yesterday that you don't even know exists, I'm going to be like, man, you know what? I'm not going to join him at his firm.
Yep.
He didn't respond back to me. DJ's like, I never even heard of this. And how is that even fair? It's like you're fighting a battle that you can't win. And so how do we change the rules of the game? And we get clear, we get focused, we worry about ourselves first, we create a vision, we put our family first, and then we go to work and we kick butt. That's what it's about. So I did that as an agent. What happened really quickly after that is we became a team. In 2020, January, we started a team. And within 3 years, I taught the team everything that I did. That simple. which in Chevron coaching is called our agent success program. We actually have everything documented from goals to habits to database, lead gen, financials, buyers, sellers, time management, calendar planning, commissions, educations, everything. It's all there. My system is 100% documented. I've trained it as of today for 7 years. I've trained thousands, tens of thousands of agents on it. Changes their life because it helps them take control and put boundaries and operate up here. So we started training our team members. People started coming to me saying, "Hey, will you coach me?" And I'm like, "No." So they joined my team. At this time, we weren't growing our coaching, we were growing our team. Well, our team with 25 agents closed over 500 transactions in 1 year. This is crazy
Unbelievable.
stuff.
Amazing.
You want to hear what's even crazier than that? Our average monthly budget was under $20,000 to do it.
Wow.
And let me tell you what the $20,000 is, bro. No one ever talks to you about money. No one ever says what the money looks like. So the 20,000 expenses were broken down this way when I ran my team. A quarter of that a month was for my education. Okay. I start with that. A quarter was for my education.
Keep learning.
Yep. I am the best asset. I need to keep growing and learning, keep growing and learning. The second quarter of that was for my office that I work in. Why did I have an office? Because I didn't know if I needed one or not. So I got one. So that's the second quarter. The third quarter was for my assistant because I needed help so I could keep growing. And the fourth quarter was for everything else. Imagine that. If anybody runs a team, if they chew on that for a second, it will blow their mind what I just said, if they can comprehend it. And here's how I know this is because I coach and train team leaders for a long time. And we're working one-on, like, how do you produce 500 transactions with 25 agents and you don't buy them leads? I just teach them how to be a good agent, how to live a good life. And because of that, their business thrives. It goes up, 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 and up.
What I hear so much in the way you communicate, and I'm sure our audience will notice this too. I want to make sure I verbalize this because I think it's super, super important. Austin stays in the solutions arena. He is not staying in problems. He identifies problems, of course. You have to know the weeds that are trying to take over the garden. And he goes, I can find a solution for that. And he literally stays in solution. And I think that is a massive paradigm shift. It is so easy to stay on the problem because problems kind of feel good to sort of think about, and it makes us, I don't know, there's something cognitive that we like about, ruminating on our problems, and yet they don't get solved.
You want to know what's funny, DJ? And just for your audience, we never had this conversation. So here was a problem. I was working with so many team leaders explaining how we were doing what we were doing. It became a problem. Okay. So here was my solution. Like, I can't invest 40 hours a week just talking to team leaders all over the world. So here was my solution. Oh, no. Oh, what just happened there? Oh, I'm still here. Sorry. My computer screen just moved on me.
Yeah, you're good.
Here was my solution. We held a conference. I rented out the convention center where I live. And we flew in my friends from all over the country. We had $2 billion in sales in the room, which is a pretty cool feat.
Wow.
For a little guy like me to have $2 billion. And we trained them for 2 days on everything we knew about teams. Exactly our exact playbook, from how do we build our culture, to what our operations look like, to how we built our sales, to how we train the agents. And last, we showed them all of our financials, which no one does.
Yeah.
Here's all of our money, guys. So here's what we save, and here's how it looks financially. And here's where we put our money, and here's where we failed. And we produced it. I had a producing crew come in. My buddy that used to produce in Hollywood came, he filmed it all, and then we recorded it. That's our teams program now for Cheviron Coaching. I had a problem. We created a solution. You needed me to do this live. Now you can take it at your own speed. It's right there for you. Learn everything I know.
It's amazing to me that this will elude me from time to time, and I'll have to remind myself when I'm stuck in problem mode, is that there is a solution to every problem. There is a solution. And if I'm just stuck in the problem, I'm not looking for a way out. And the moment I shift and say, no, there's a solution to this, like somebody's figured this out, or I can figure this out, then I start opening up. As you said, I have space to create. I have space to create a solution. I have space to find a solution. But if I don't identify these problems, so part of it I think is identify, like getting super honest, right? Like, hey, my body is not where I need it to be, and I'm trying to close all these sales, and I need my body to support me through that process. So I better have a decent workout schedule. And you know what? I don't get to the gym, so I better get a personal trainer, or I better pre-plan my meals. I better do these things that I know I don't do well on my own, such that I can then focus all my decision making energy on the stuff that actually really moves the needle, not just where do I want to eat, because I don't want to spend 20 minutes every day deciding where I want to eat, right? Same thing as I don't want to spend 20 minutes every day going, what should I do first today? What's the best thing? No, I should already have that planned. And it doesn't take a ton of time, but
No.
10 minutes before I go to bed the night before, go, okay, let's come up with our plan for the day. And maybe it's you even do it before that. But the point is I wake up and I know what I'm doing. And because life's going to throw me off course anyway, but at
Yeah.
least I know where approximately I'm going to be when, and it just makes my anxiety goes way down.
So if everybody didn't think I was a little different than maybe a normal person, let me tell you this, because you talked about energy about 30 minutes ago. And I studied my energy back in 2013, 14, 15, because I knew my energy would be the one component that I could control that would help me get to where I was going. And so, I'm not an alcoholic, but I might like to have a drink every couple nights or something, maybe 1, 2, 3, sometimes 10. Who knows where the night's going, right? Like, I'm a real estate agent. I deal with the same problems you do. Alcohol solves those at night. I get that. So here's what I did. I went all on drinking, not like full binge mode, but I would have like 2 beers a night, and I'd wake up and I would document how I felt. And then I would do it again and I would document it. And here's what I found. Okay. Not in a bad way, but like in a study. I studied myself.
Sure.
When I drink any amount the next day, the best I can do is manage. I can't get ahead. I can only manage what I have. And if you just manage what you have the rest of your life, you're probably not going to ever get to where you're trying to get to.
That's a good point. That's a really, really strong point. And I think that's important. Again, I have the data. I know what happens to me on 2 beers or 3 beers or whatever, fill in the blank, 3 TV shows,
Yeah.
3 things of junk food, whatever it might be. We plot the data. I'm going to do this thing. I'm not going to shame myself. It's just what I'm doing. I'm going to see what the results are, and I'm going to then make a different decision if I need to. And it sounds so simple, but so much of our life is done unconsciously. What we're talking again about bringing intention, making decisions intentionally. If you want to make the decision to eat the junk food and that's the best possible decision for you at that moment, I'm cool with that. But make the decision make that decision versus letting it just go, well, I guess I'm going to do that.
Bingo. So let me keep on the story. The whole thing's here a story, DJ. This is fun, isn't it? You didn't expect all this. So here's what happened. We started running one of the top real estate teams in the country within a couple years, running these systems. And I realized that I can either pour into 25 people and make them so happy, so successful, whatever they desire. We can help make that. Or I can pour my talents and energy back into the world. Okay.
Yeah.
We shut down the real estate team Q1 this year. Shut it down. Okay. People think we're crazy. It's like, why would you not sell it? We had offers to buy it. We didn't sell it. We shut down the real estate team and we went all in on focusing and helping other people achieve what we have achieved. And the next piece that was missing, we had our agent success program. How do you live a good life and run a good business? We then have our teams program. How do you run a high producing team on a low expense model? Okay. What was missing, what I haven't told anybody, is since I was 28 when I was on welfare, I figured out my financials. It's one thing I did really well because I had a vision of where I wanted to be. And I knew I had to figure out my money. Studying real estate agents, here's what I can tell you. There's 100 classes on how to make money. Okay? Literally for sale by owners, lead gen, this, the new AI, blah, 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 sphere. I mean, you could just go boom, 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 boom. Let me ask you this, DJ. How many years you been around real estate agents?
14.
14 years. Okay. Pretty knowledgeable, I would say, at 14 years. I feel comfortable asking you this question. Okay. How many classes have you ever found about how to keep the money you have?
Oh boy. I'll tell you, I could tell you exactly how many because I volunteer at our local association and we are trying our best once a year to have one class to literally, and nobody comes, by the way. But yes, look, we're in an industry where people are paid the full amount, the taxes aren't even taken. And yes, look, yes, you have to have a financial plan.
So here's what I can tell you. I've spent 34 years of my life watching real estate agents make really good money and very, very, I should almost say never, never, almost 99% of the time, they don't have anything when they're done.
Yeah.
They can go 20, 30, 40 years in this career and they don't have anything. They don't have what they thought. They were short on their vision. They missed it. And it's like, how did we miss the mark so bad? Like, this is a good human being. I would hire them. They did really good work. They made hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and they're 74 years old showing a house. Why? They say it's because they love people. It's not. It's because they need the money still.
Yeah.
And these are good human beings. And so what I realize is my obligation back to the world is I can show them how it went from being on welfare at 28 to becoming a multimillionaire in exactly the system and process that I used to do that. And so for the last 4 months, I went and documented everything I knew about money. What did I know? How did I do it? Where did it start? What was the process? And I came up with 22 different modules that we produced that's launching on November 5th. It's called our wealth program. And it has to do, it was really interesting. After a month of writing, I literally locked myself in my bedroom, which we call our office today. So I locked myself in our bedroom and I wrote for 30 days. As a high achiever, it's hard to lock yourself in a room for 30 days. I was only able to do that because I got my money right. Okay. This was an investment back to the world. I locked myself in my room for 30 days. I had 60 days to write my program. After day 30, I called my business partner. I said, hey, I think we might have a problem. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I just wrote everything I knew about money, and most of it wasn't about making money. I go, I think the audience is going to want to know how to make money, right? He goes, well, if that's not how you did it, then it's fine. I go, but I don't know if that's what they're going to want to hear. And he goes, it doesn't matter what they want to hear. It matters what they need to hear, Austin. And so these 22 modules started with a goal and a vision. How do you create a goal financially of what you want? And then module 2 works into awareness. How do you become aware of what your thoughts are and how you were raised as a kid? Like, what are all these things? We have one of our clients that says, where I come from and what country I'm from, money is evil.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how well is that working for you? She goes, not good. I don't like having it. I was taught that it's bad.
Yeah,
So
which means she probably pushes it away.
Yeah. And I go, well, is that what you want to teach your kids? She goes, no, I got to fix this now. And so I wrote everything I knew about money. It was broke up into 3 sections. The major section, if you look at a pyramid, and this is on our website, I show it as a pyramid, the visual. The base of everything about money is your personal financials. And so we spend 10 modules working on your personal financials, from what you spend to your vision to your credit score. Here's the module 10 of our personal. I'm going to ask you, DJ. I told you I was going to ask you some questions.
Sure.
How many hours a week do you think the normal real estate agent spends making money a week? What's the average amount of time? Yeah,
doing money making activities.
Well, just working in general. Work is you're to work to make money. How many hours do they work?
For a full-time realtor, I would say 40 hours.
Okay. Everybody here, listen, this is why the problems exist right here. They spend 40 hours a week making money. How many hours a week do you think they take spending money? Oh. So going to the grocery store, shopping, all spending.
Probably another 15 hours, I would say.
Okay, so we're at 55 hours now. How many hours do they spend taking care of their money?
Oh, I would say 1 hour, maybe.
Okay. So what's 1 hour into 50 hours?
Oh, what, 2%? Yeah, 2%.
Can you do anything 2% of the time and expect a great result? No. And that's module 10. I break down time blocking for your financials. So I'll give away the gold here. What I teach people to do is exactly what I did. We do not teach anything that we have not done. And what's fun about that is I can tell you, here's all my failures and here's my successes. Judge me if you want. It's working well for me now, though. Okay. I spend 15 minutes every morning looking at my bank accounts and my credit card statements. And I'm just doing quick, like, oh crap, my account's negative. Oh crap, I forgot that check came out. Like just awareness of what's happening. 15 minutes, Monday through Thursday, puts me at 1 hour a week. And then on Fridays, I spend 1 hour ensuring all of my money I have or I don't have is in alignment with the vision I'm trying to create. That's 2 hours a week. So 2 hours into 50 is 4%. If you follow that simple formula, you 2x the amount of time you're investing into your money, because it makes no sense to work your whole life to make money and not have any when you're done. Like, why work if you're not going to take care of it? Work less, take care of it more. You don't have to. That's what I do now. I work less and I take care of it more. And I don't have to spend all the time you guys do. It works really well.
What I love about your coaching is it's not just how to build a real estate practice. Of course, lots of people can teach that. Lots of people have taught that, and lots of people continue to teach that, as you do as well. And that's great. And that's step one, is of course building the business that you want, but protecting the business is really what we're talking about. And beyond the business, protecting one's life, protecting one's family, protecting the time that we have to spend with our families. This is really what we're talking about, and it comes with planning. And so what you're doing is you're telling us is, hey, you can spend 15 minutes a day basically making sure that you're never too far away from your financials. And that is a brilliant thing, because I just know what the results of that will be. Is I will be more conscious about making spending decisions. If I can see my credit card bill every single day going, okay, it's at this level, I need it to stay under this level. And by the way, I have a budget, so I know how much I'm supposed to spend per month. Do you have a budget? Most people, and these are the kind of things that Austin can help you set up in your life, so you have decisions already made for you and you're just monitoring the situation.
We talked, you said earlier about investments. One of the things I was able to do was, when I was on welfare, I made a decision. Here's where we're going to go. I created what's called my wealth machine. It's essentially a machine that processes my commission check and it puts it into the buckets: giving, tax, investments, business operations, which is your checking for business, and then personal operations is your personal checking. It puts it in there, and it's almost like I don't want to call it a no-brainer system, but what it allowed me to do is to make the decision: when I get paid $500, here's how it gets processed.
Yeah.
When I make 10,000, here's how it gets processed. And it spits out the results. Okay. And the difference is it allowed me to put what's important first: my giving, my taxes, my investments. And then here's the brilliant part: I didn't even know I was doing this when I was doing it. It allowed me to spend all the money that's left over. Where right now, most of you are fearful of spending money because there might be too much owed at the end of the
Right. You
month.
don't even know how much you have left.
For
Right.
me, when I got paid, when I got the money, like my personal, when it went through my wealth machine, I was allowed to spend it all. I became free of money and it started to serve me. And it got me to a place where now I own millions and millions of dollars of real estate, and it provides my lifestyle for me. So I can go spend 60 days in a bedroom, 60 days producing a program to give to you to be able to help you change your financial trajectory for your family. We call it wealth. Module 21 and 22 are my favorite two modules. Module 21 is inheritance. Okay. I believe wealth. Being in real estate, I sold a lot of people's houses when they died and then the kids took over. And let me tell you, it was a disaster. Family hated each other. Like, I believe, DJ, when I pass, I did not live a wealthy life if my kids inherit all I have and they hate each other. That's
Right.
not wealth to me. That's actually me not taking care of what I have for my family. And so I give an example. I own 45 houses, 46 here next week. So I'm excited about the 46th one. That's not common for most of this audience. I get that. Let me tell you this. I have to teach my kids how to inherit those 46 homes.
Right.
I have to teach them because if not, then what's going to happen is they're going to call DJ and they're going to say, I don't want these.
Yeah.
I don't
Sell
want
these.
anything. And they're going to sell them to DJ for 50 cents on the dollar and lose millions of dollars and lose
Right.
the vision. So module 21 is inheritance. Module 22 is giving. The final end of my whole wealth program is about giving. And it's helping change your mindset from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. Because if we can live an abundance mindset financially, everything else is better. But we live so scarce because we don't take care of what we have, and then we don't have it, and we think, hey, I need this. I was with, I drove around, looked at my 45 houses the last 3 days, and I never look at my properties because I don't want to be emotionally attached to them.
Sure.
My emotions messes them up. That's a whole nother training. Well, I went into one and the guy's like, I've been here for 16 years. He didn't know I was the owner. We just did a quick audit walkthrough. And he said, I've been here for 16 years. The last time it sold, I didn't get to meet the owners and it kind of upset me. And I got this garage door and I looked at him. I said, hey, I'm Austin. I own the house. And he's like, you own this house? It's like, I own the house. I just want to let you know, I'll fix the garage door for you. Whatever, I'll fix it. Thank you for being here for 16 years. I appreciate that. And my property manager goes, you just cost yourself $1,000. I go, I know. This is why I don't come. Okay. Difference is I have an abundance mindset. I can get another 1,000 like that. It wasn't about me. It was about this man investing 16 years of his life in this house and me putting myself in the financial position to say, if you need $1,000, if that makes you, I'm good. It doesn't matter to me. It's just money. I have plenty of it. I can go make more. It's all good. That's the last module of our program. And if I can help change someone's life to look at money as abundant and make decisions and live life that way compared to scarce, life changes, DJ.
What a perfect place to wrap up. Chevron University, chevroncoaching.com is where you want to go to learn about Chevron University. They have many different programs for real estate agents. They have their wealth program we talked about. There's also an agent success program. Are you an individual practitioner? You want to increase your production, manage your finances, make better decisions throughout your day so you can actually make the sales that you want? And then teams. Are you looking to build a team? Do you have a team? Is it running effectively? Is it running efficiently? Probably not. If you're like most teams, you need a coach. This is where you can go. So Chevron University is the place, but the website is chevroncoaching.com, and that's at CHEVIRON coaching.com. We have a link to that in the show notes. Let them know that you heard it here on Keeping It Real. And also, I just have one question for you. One last question, rather, because you've given us so many great tips throughout this hour. I greatly appreciate it. I am curious, what's one mistake that you made as a younger person that you wish you could go back, and if you knew what you knew now, would have really changed things for the better for you?
It's almost like you knew what to ask me because this is great. When I was 18, I bought my first house in high school.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in high school, had my own house. That's why I missed 70 days of school because I never went. When I was 19 and 20, I started buying real estate with my father. Okay. And I had 6 rental houses between the age of 19 and 23. Okay. At 23, we sold them all. Don't sell your real estate. Find a way. Fight. Real estate is an and asset, which means you can have real estate and you can have cash. You can get them both. You can leverage your real estate. If you need cash, leverage the real estate. Don't sell it. I get there's one-off scenarios in which it might make sense for you to sell. Fight to keep it. My real estate has made me more money every year than I almost make with my own time. But I had to fight to keep it. So my one mistake I made was I sold my real estate. I wish I would have figured out a way and had a better vision just to keep it. It would have made me millions of dollars.
Well, thank you for that, the honesty and the vulnerability, and also sharing from the heart. I really desperately need guests on the show, and we thankfully we attract guests like Austin on the show who really do speak authentically and say, here's what I do, here's how I do it. And Austin is exactly the kind of person we love having on Keeping It Real, because he is a very real person, and he also offers real solutions for your real estate challenges, because everybody's got real estate challenges. Everybody in their real estate practice has some part of their practice that isn't going well. That's normal. That's okay. That's why you get a coach. Reach out to Austin. Chevroncoaching.com is where you can learn. There's private coaching, there's group coaching, there's online classes. This is what you want to take out. Austin would love the opportunity to see if you might be a good fit for one of his programs. Austin, what's the best way somebody should learn or should reach out to you to learn more?
If you want to reach out to me, I am still accessible today. It's austin@chevron.net.
Austin@chevron.net. On behalf of our audience, Austin, thank you so much. So grateful to have you. Appreciate your story. Loved hearing it. And you reminded me of a lot of things I need to start doing myself. So in a way, you coached me along this hour. Very sincere thank you for that. And on behalf of Austin and myself, we want to thank the audience. You're the reason we do this show. We love you. We thank you. This is I think it's our 7th year doing this. We appreciate you. Please tell a friend. Think of one other realtor in your office or somebody you know in the industry that needs to hear what Austin mentioned today, specifically about personal responsibility. Maybe it's financial responsibility. Maybe it's work responsibility, or maybe it's just setting better boundaries in life. Either way, anyway, everybody needs a coach. Send this episode to them. You can also have them visit our website, keepingitrealpod.com. Every episode we've ever had is there. It can be streamed. Of course, we're also on every podcast app. Just search for Keeping It Real. Hit that subscribe button. We also greatly appreciate reviews. So let us know what you think of the show. Let us know, and let Austin know what you thought of his appearance today on the show. He's amazing. We love him, and we are so grateful, Austin, to have you on the show. We will see everybody